And yes, I am back. I am going to be reviewing movies all the time. Hey guys, thank you for joining the quest again today. I'm your host Marquise Underwood, and today I'll be reviewing The Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9, the new Star Wars movie. So I just want to preface this by saying that I did see the first two trailers, but I went in completely unbiased. I didn't see any of the TV spots. I didn't look at any of the reviews, even though I heard there were some mixed thoughts, but I didn't read any articles. I just saw some headlines. I did see the Rotten Tomatoes score, and that didn't really scare me just because it's Rotten Tomatoes. But I did go into this movie just as raw as possible, just to be completely unbiased and just give my true and purified thoughts on this whole matter. And well, I like the movie, but I'm sure that this movie would definitely divide fans. Now, if you've been a big fan of Star Wars, you will know that this is the last movie in the whole Skywalker saga, or trilogy, or whatever you want to call it. And I think this does end on a really good high note. I think for fans, I can see this totally going either way for fans. I can see fans loving the movie, and I can see fans hating the movie. I think story-wise, it's fine. Plot-wise, it's just a little bit everywhere in my opinion, even though I do think that it kind of works, but you can tell that they try to take the stories that were told in Episode 7, the story that was told in Episode 9, and try to, find like a good conclusion for this, and it sometimes worked and it sometimes didn't. Like I said, this is the non-spoiler review, so I can't really get into the details, and I will a little bit later in this video. Of course, I'll warn you, but I do think there is like a little bit of conflict of interest going on with this movie, as J.J. Abrams, who also directed Episode 7, tries to not only end this trilogy, but end the whole franchise, at least for the Skywalker saga as we know it. I think the film was shot pretty well. Everything looks beautiful. No scenes really stand out. There's no moment or no specific scene that you just go, hey, I noticed the camera's doing this, or look at how these guys are framed. Nothing really stands out. I think the action is pretty good as far as the choreography goes, and I thought that was done well and caught really well on film. There are some real highlight moments, but for me, the standout of this whole movie has to be the character of Kylo Ren. And honestly, I think his arc is just the whole best part of this trilogy, just because you see him go from being this kid who's trying to be like Vader to, hey, I'm kind of with the good side, and hey, I kind of want to be the bad guy too. And you definitely get that here, but I think it's really simplified and really capped off here pretty well. Obviously, we're following Rey, who is the main protagonist of this whole trilogy, and she's kind of like Kylo Ren, but obviously she's on the good side, and she's tempted with the dark side, and I think they did that really well. I think for her, though, the whole twist of who her parents are, I think that was done well, given what we knew about it. I think, honestly, with this movie, if you did not see the trailers, and you go into this movie completely not knowing anything, I think it'll work out for you in your benefit, just because this whole thing about, the trailer and what's in it, it kind of messes with your thoughts as you go into the movie. So I think if you go into the movie without that, seeing the trailers, I think it'll be fine. And I do like this movie. I just think I have mixed feelings. I think I want to see this movie a few times. I definitely want to see Episode 7 and Episode 8 one more time, just to see if what hints they had at this whole arc and narrative. But it does feel like they just took the thoughts of Episode 7 and the thoughts of Episode 8, and then they just kind of said, hey, we need to conclude this. Episode 7 was directed by J.J. Abrams, as I mentioned earlier. And then Episode 8 was directed by Rian Johnson, who I thought did a phenomenal job with The Last Jedi, is doing something completely different and trying something new with the franchise. And I think since, this wasn't directed by the same person, you can definitely see like a conflict of interest, and you can see how, hey, one person was setting up the movie with Episode 7, the other person did this whole turn and changed the expectations of the franchise in Episode 8. And 9 is like, okay, we have this setup, we have this change of expectations, how do these two combine? And I think that's what the issue with this movie is. So I'm feeling a B+ for this. I'm thinking a 3.7 out of 5. Like I said, I did like this movie. I just think everything just did not fit well. I think Rey and Kylo, their arcs were pretty good. Like I said, if you've seen the trailer, you're kind of going to go into this movie with expectations, and I feel like this is one of those movies where it can divide fans. So depending on the expectations of what you have going into this movie, that will determine your outlook on this. But did you see Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker? If you did, let me know. Comment below, hit that like button, and let me know what you thought. So, if you're still here, I just want to talk about some brief spoilers, since I can't really get into that with the initial review. So, pretty much, I just want to go over Palpatine. Palpatine, as you know, is in the trailer. He's at least hinted at with his laugh. So, you kind of go into this movie just trying to figure out what's his role in all this. And since you go into this movie with those expectations, about the first 10-15 minutes of the movie kind of spoil, what his plan is, and hey, I'm the bad guy, and we have to do this, this, and this, and all that fun stuff. But at the end, you kind of see him, I don't know, just his arc is just, why is he in the movie? I get why he's in the movie because he kind of caps off the whole saga, but as far as his character goes, and then finding out that Rey is his granddaughter, did we really have to make Rey associated with somebody from the original movies? Couldn't we make Rey associated with somebody from, I don't know, Knights of the Old Republic, or some old Sith guy or Jedi guy back in the day? Why did we have to, I guess, relate them to Palpatine? Revolving around Palpatine and his role and how they decided to end the franchise. I definitely don't see an episode 10, 11, or 12 coming, even though we know that Palpatine can come back from the dead, so who knows what will happen in another 30 years in this universe. But I can definitely say that I think this is going to be the last Skywalker saga movie. It's going to be sad to say that because, this movie's been around since the 70s. But it is what it is. I just want to get you guys' thoughts and, opinions on this whole movie. It's going to be a mixed thoughts and mixed bag, but hey, that's what we're here for. So yeah, let me know what you think.